It's 6 p.m. For many people, this would be the most comfortable time of the day. The sun is starting to set. People are getting off work, and families are preparing for dinner. But during summer in China, 6 p.m. can still be extremely hot. Today, the temperature is over 40 degrees Celsius. The air feels like it has been heated by the sun, and even stepping outside takes courage. However, for many ordinary Chinese families, life doesn't stop because of the heat. Buying groceries, cooking dinner, and sitting down for a meal. This is the most ordinary part of everyday life. Hello everyone, I'm Xiaoling. Today I want to take you into an ordinary residential community in China. Let's see what life looks like here at 6 p.m. At the same time, I will take the equivalent of $10 in Chinese yuan to a local market and buy ingredients for tonight's dinner. Let's find out how much food $10 can actually buy in China. This is the residential community where I live. It's not a luxury neighborhood. There are no skyscrapers here, and it's not a tourist destination. But this is where real everyday life happens for many people in China. Every day, many ordinary people begin and end their day here. Before leaving home, I always make it a habit to check the weather outside, because during the summer in China, the daytime heat can be intense. That's why many people choose to go grocery shopping in the evening, when the temperature becomes a little more comfortable. There are many residential communities like this across China. They may not have the newest buildings or the most modern designs, but they are full of everyday life. Neighbors know each other. Older people sit under the trees and chat. Children play downstairs. Every day, countless ordinary stories happen here. Now, I'm heading to a local market nearby. It takes about 10 minutes to get there from my home. Along the way, you can see cars parked on both sides of the street. This community is located in the suburbs of Wuhan, where housing prices are much lower compared with the city center. Of course, like many places in China, the real estate market has experienced major changes in recent years. In some suburban areas, home prices have dropped significantly, and many properties are no longer as valuable as they once were. Many people here are not wealthy. This community was formed by people who moved from smaller cities and rural areas to Wuhan, hoping to find better opportunities and build a life in a bigger city. For many of them, the goal was simple: to find work, to provide better education opportunities for their children, and to become part of city life. Many residents choose not to buy private parking spaces because they are too expensive. That's why you often see cars parked along both sides of the road. Communities like this exist in many cities across China. They are built by ordinary people who are working hard to create a better future in the cities they now call home. I'm here. This is the local market where many residents come every day. There are no fancy decorations like you would find in a large shopping mall, but this is where you can experience the most authentic side of everyday life in China. From what I understand, many of the people working at this market started here after losing their previous jobs or looking for new ways to earn a living. In China, this type of business is often called street vending. Some people come here simply to earn extra money and support their families. Before finishing their regular jobs, they go to wholesale markets, buy products at lower prices, and then come here in the evening to set up their stalls. The prices here are usually much cheaper than supermarkets. One reason is that these vendors don't have to pay expensive store rent. They make smaller profits, but they rely on selling more products and attracting more customers. Because there are many vendors competing with each other, customers can often find affordable prices. For many of these sellers, this income may not be a lot, but they are satisfied because it gives them a way to support their families and maintain their daily lives. This is another side of China's economy. Ordinary people working hard, using simple methods to create a better life.
呀，这个木东西。
自拍杆。
肩周炎、颈椎炎、麻木眼结节，脚吃烂脚牙脚脱皮，麻木冠状男人不一样啊。
都是专卖店卖的啊，4条100，4条100，2条50，4条100。
除了个衣服单的是快充，但是个单那里面那个单件是慢充。
Unlike a large supermarket, this market doesn't have clearly organized sections. The stalls are arranged in a more traditional way. Every day, vendors have to arrive early and compete for a good spot to set up their stalls. That's why you might see fruit stands next to clothing stalls, or spices sold right beside other products. It may look a little unorganized, but this is part of the unique character of local markets in China. During summer, Chinese markets are filled with all kinds of seasonal fruits. Watermelon is one of the most popular choices for many families. It's affordable, refreshing, and the perfect way to cool down during hot summer days. But for me, as a woman living alone, I really want to buy one. The problem is, watermelons are heavy. I can't even carry one home by myself. Sometimes even a simple thing like buying a watermelon becomes a small challenge in everyday life. Next, we come to the most important part of today's trip: buying groceries. Every day, Chinese families buy different kinds of fresh vegetables. Many people prefer to buy their ingredients on the same day they cook them because they believe fresh food tastes better. After walking around for a while, my clothes are already completely soaked from the heat. Along the roadside, some elderly vegetable vendors are using hats or other tools to fan themselves, trying to cool down while sitting at their stalls. Many of these vegetable sellers are local residents from nearby villages and communities. Some of them bring vegetables they grow themselves and sell them at the market to earn extra money and help support their families. For them, this small market is not just a place to sell vegetables, it is also a part of their everyday life.
空心菜怎么卖的？100。
对，很细重的。
As I walk through the market, the vendors call out to every customer passing by. Because the day is almost over, they hope to sell everything as quickly as possible and go home. If they cannot sell their vegetables today, the hot weather may cause them to lose freshness by the next day. For these small vendors, every customer matters. A simple sale can mean bringing home fresh income for their families. I came to a fish stall because I wanted to buy 2 fish for tonight's dinner. I was thinking about making fish with tofu.
4块。
When I asked about the price, the vendor told me that the larger fish were more expensive,
我看一下有多大
about
的，
2 yuan more per pound.
就这几个了。
I hesitated for a moment. I knew there was another fish seller further ahead in the market, so I decided to take a look there first. Maybe I could find a better price.
怎么大的贵些啊？不一样的价吗？鲫鱼怎么卖的？
I came to another fish stall. The price of carp here was 10 yuan per
给
pound.
我弄2条。
Since I shop at local markets often, I already have a general idea of what a reasonable price should be. I asked the vendor to pick out 2 larger fish for me. In China, when you buy fish at the market, the seller usually cleans it for you before you take it home. They remove the scales and clean the inside, so when you get home, you only need to rinse it with water, and it's ready to cook.
微信收看12斤的鱼。
咱2人搞10块钱去了，少点钱了。别生气了，好，给我把你看了哎，我帮你看了。
都那茄子怎么卖的？
茄子1块7一斤。这葱放哪块？这是葱啊？
生菜咋卖？你说生菜咋卖？
这13块。
啊，这是多少啊？黄瓜？
黄瓜我跟他先称一下，你的黄瓜是13块6，2块5毛钱的。
辣椒怎么卖的？辣椒怎么卖的？
辣椒，这个辣椒3块。是不是？生菜的，生菜的。这个反正要的话2块5，而且2块5，一人2块5的。啊？老板，这个5块3斤，1块7一斤。
一共5块是吧？
哎，对，也太辣了，这辣的我4碗一样的价。他8两半。
大约多少？
好，谢谢。
刚刚过来问了的是吧？
对。2把都给我拿着吧。2把给你3块行吧？
不行，你自己
行，那你装着吧。
对，
你装着吧
因。为我们自己种的菜本来也卖的便宜。
4块是吧？谢谢啊。
没事。
小葱怎么卖的？
啊？
小葱
小葱拿一下。
还有小葱啊，小葱6块。
来，
2块钱。
把个袋子装起来吧。
花是背包。2块啊？有些地方我听说过背。没，我背的。
The weather is still extremely hot, but in front of a watermelon stand, a crowd of people has gathered. Maybe because these watermelons are locally grown, the price is very affordable. As the sky begins to get darker, more and more people are finishing their shopping. They have bought what they need and are now rushing home to prepare dinner for their families. The market is slowly becoming quieter, but the feeling of everyday life is still everywhere. I walked over to the fruit section. I decided to buy some fruit to help cool down from the summer heat.
鲜瓜怎么卖的？
I really wanted to buy a watermelon, but I had to give up on that idea because watermelons are just too heavy. As a woman living alone, carrying a large watermelon home by myself is almost impossible.
苹果胶4元1斤，苹果胶4元1斤，又脆又甜的苹果4元3斤，又脆又甜的苹果4元3斤，香蕉4元4斤，香蕉4元4斤，正宗宁夏石头花1块钱一斤，正宗宁夏石头花1块钱一斤，1块钱一斤了。苹果胶，香蕉4元4斤，香蕉4元4斤。正宗宁夏石头花4元1斤。
我知道11块吧，11块吧。
香蕉10元4斤，香蕉10元4斤。
微信收款11元。
谢谢啊。
苹果胶4元1斤，苹果胶4元1斤，又脆又甜的苹果10元3斤，又脆又甜的苹果10元3斤，香蕉10元4斤，香蕉10元4斤。正宗宁夏石头花1块钱一斤，正宗宁夏石头花1块钱一斤，1块钱一斤了。苹果胶4元1斤，苹果胶4元1斤。
别人不一样，价钱就不一样。
10块3个。
这是汇丰，这是悠悠
1块6了，1块6了啊！
悠悠便宜些。
就剩下这些吗？你们还有没有？
超大的芒果10块3个。
给点我挑嘛。
来，朝天就不止提花，才1块6了，1块6了啊！朝天的水蜜桃、苹果梨10块3斤，10块3斤。
小的。
超大的芒果10块3个，10块3个。来，朝天就不止提花，才1块6了，1块6了啊！
拍视频吗？
朝天的水蜜桃、
对，我拍的。
网红的，你是网红的。
桃、苹果梨10块3斤，10块3斤。超大的芒果10块3个，10块3个，1块6了啊！朝天的水蜜桃、
超好吃，开肠
10块3斤，10块3斤。超大的芒果10块3个，10块3个。来，朝天就不止提10块3个。来，朝天就不止朝天的水蜜桃、苹果梨10块3斤，10块3斤。23个，10块3个，10块3个。来，朝天就不止提。
Tonight, I spent a total of 75 yuan on groceries. Based on the current exchange rate, that's about $10 US. The vegetables and other ingredients didn't cost much. Most of the money was actually spent on fruit. So, what do you think about the cost of living in China? Could you buy the same amount of food for around $10 in your country? The sky is getting dark now, and it's time for me to head home and prepare tonight's dinner. This may be the busiest time of the day. After work, many Chinese families go through this same routine: buying groceries, washing vegetables, cooking dinner, and finally, sitting down together to enjoy a meal. Tonight, I'm going to make 2 simple Chinese home-style dishes: carp cooked with tofu and a Chinese chive and egg pancake. I'll share every step of the cooking process, so if you enjoy Chinese food, you can try making these dishes at home. These are truly traditional Chinese home-cooked meals. Unlike restaurant dishes, there are no complicated steps and no special techniques involved. It's just simple ingredients, simple cooking methods, and the comforting flavors of everyday Chinese food. Cooking is actually a very simple thing, but it carries the warmth and feeling of home. The outside world can be busy and stressful, but when you come home, a warm meal waiting for you can bring a sense of comfort and peace. I'm not sure what you call this dish in your country, but in China, this is a very common homemade meal. It's a simple Chinese chive and egg pancake. First, cut the Chinese chives into small pieces. Add eggs, a little salt, and mix everything together. Then cook it slowly over low heat with some oil until both sides become golden brown. And that's it. A delicious homemade dish is ready. It's simple, but full of flavor. China has many different types of cuisine, but for ordinary people, everyday meals are not always fancy or expensive. Most of the time, it's a simple, warm, home-cooked meal that brings comfort at the end of the day. Today, I spent $10 at a local market in China and bought the ingredients for a simple dinner. I walked through an ordinary residential community. I visited a local market. I talked with the vendors. And then I came home and cooked my meal. This is what a typical day looks like for many ordinary people in China. Sometimes we are always searching for special places and extraordinary experiences, but the true beauty of life is often hidden in the simplest moments. A local market, a quiet street, a homemade dinner, an ordinary evening. Thank you for spending this summer night in China with me. If you want to discover more about the real, everyday life of China, please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.